76 clubs, 131 domestic trebles. And most of them, nobody talks about. But one club has done it 8 times. 8. And people still argue whether any of them count. Let's settle this. What is a domestic treble? First, let's be clear. A domestic treble is not the Champions League treble. It's harder to explain. And that's exactly the problem. League, primary cup, secondary cup, all 3, same season. Sounds simple. Here's where it gets messy. Spain, no secondary cup, can't do it. Germany, same problem. France, only recently possible. So the domestic treble is only achievable in a handful of countries. Scotland, England, Portugal, a few others, which means most of the world's biggest clubs never had the chance. Real Madrid, never done it. Barcelona, never done it. AC Milan, never done it. Now ask yourself, is that their fault or is the whole conversation broken? Where it started 1924-25, Shamrock Rovers, Ireland. The first domestic treble in football history. Not Celtic, not Rangers, not Manchester City. Shamrock Rovers from Dublin in 1925. Nobody talks about them. 1966-67, Celtic, Glasgow, Jockstein, an all-Scottish squad. They didn't just win the domestic treble, they won 5 trophies. League, Scottish Cup, League Cup, Glasgow Cup, and the European Cup, the quintuple. First British team to lift the European Cup. The Lisbon Lions. 196 goals in a single season. That number? Insane. And they're still the only team in history to win a continental treble and a domestic treble in the same season. Celtic, 1967. The benchmark. Forever. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because most domestic trebles come with an asterisk. Athletic Club, Spain. Multiple domestic trebles. One small detail, one of the trophies was the Biscay Championship. A regional cup. Does that count? Depends who you ask. PSG. France. 4 domestic trebles. All 4 came in one decade. All 4 in a league they dominated so completely that critics called it a farmers' league. Is it a treble if there's no real competition? Rangers. Scotland. 7 domestic trebles. 3rd most in the world. But Rangers went bankrupt in 2012. Liquidated. Reborn. New company. New registration. So, are those 7 trebles part of the same club's history, or do they belong to a club that no longer exists? That debate? Still going, today. And then there's this, 2018-19, Manchester City, the first true domestic treble in English football history. Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup. But wait, England had professional football since 1888. 130 years passed before anyone did it. Why? Because the English calendar is brutal. FA Cup, League Cup, Premier League, Champions League, 4 competitions running simultaneously. No winter break, no mercy. The fact City did it? Remarkable. The fact it took 130 years? Even more remarkable. And then there's Celtic. 8 domestic trebles. 8, a world record, and 4 of them came back to back. 2016-17, 2017-18, 2018-19, 2019-20. 4 consecutive seasons. Complete domestic domination. The quadruple treble. No one else in world football has done that. Not Bayern, not Barcelona, not Real Madrid. A club from Scotland. But here's the controversy. Celtic play in the Scottish Premiership, a league with modest competition. So when people rank these trebles against, say, Barcelona's La Liga campaign, Celtic fans get frustrated. And honestly, they have a point. Winning everything in a competitive season is harder than it sounds. Ask Manchester City, ask Inter, ask Bayern. Winning everything in a less competitive league still requires perfect consistency, 0 complacency. One bad day can end it all. The bigger picture. Here's what the numbers actually tell us. 76 men's clubs have done it, 131 times total. But most countries can't do it. That's the real scandal. The domestic treble is technically impossible for the clubs in the biggest leagues. Juventus can't do it. No League Cup in Italy. Real Madrid can't do it. No secondary cup in Spain. PSG could only start doing it recently. So when someone says Celtic have the most domestic trebles, what they're really saying is Celtic play in a country where the treble is possible. That's not an insult, it's context, and context matters. So here's the real question. What makes a treble legitimate? The trophies, the competition, the era? Because if Real Madrid played in Scotland, would they win 8 trebles too? Probably, but they don't. Celtic does. And maybe that's exactly the point. Drop your take in the comments. Is the domestic treble overrated or the most underrated achievement in football? And if you want to see which of these clubs would win in a head-to-head bracket, that video is next.